Got my eyes straight ahead, got my head in the game. With the red light on, I'm just waiting for the change. Keep my head down low.
So a police officer in Canberra who was the most senior police officer when it came to the arrest of Jack Whiten and Latrell Mitchell, the arrest of them. They're NRL stars, so if you're not from Australia, they're football players, rugby league players. So he's apologised because for wrongly throwing out Jack Whiten and arresting Latrell Mitchell, so it seems. So the senior police officer has apologized. I'll just bring up the story so you can check it out. There's a bit more that's a bit concerning about this because it seems like police have maybe forgotten very basic police procedure. Actually, before I get into that, I'll just bring up something for you so you can have a look. When you're at the academy, you learn, one of the first things you learn about is that when you're going to a scene, well, you obviously need to take notes of what's happening, take notes of what's going on. You can't just rely. Or when I was going through the academy, you didn't have video footage generally, unless you were going to buy your own video camera. But you couldn't rely on that generally. You'd have to take handwritten notes in what they called contemporaneously. So you would take contemporaneous notes. So check this out. Contemporaneous notes are documentary evidence of what you did, said, observed, or were told. These are produced by you during the course of your work. They should be written as close as practical to the event. It's kind of very basic training when you're in the police, when you're at the academy. This is one of the first things you learn that you're supposed to be doing. So here, ABC News. Police officer apologised to NRL star Jack Whiten for wrongly throwing him out of the Canberra nightclub. So apparently they were having a bit of a to and fro, back and forward wrestling, but it looks like it didn't actually happen. So a senior police officer, he apologised to Jack Whiten, throwing him out. Mr. Whiten was celebrating his 30th birthday when police removed him from the Fiction nightclub earlier this year. It was in February, I think it was. He and his fellow NRL star, is also his cousin Latrell Mitchell, were charged with fighting in a public place. Mitchell was also charged with the fray and resisting police, but it was the charge of ignoring an order to leave the city area after an alleged incident in a nightclub, which was in the frame in the ACT, Australian Capital Territory. It's Canberra Magistrates Court on Tuesday. Police Sergeant David Power told the court he had seen Whiten looking angry with clenched fists and acting aggressively before he had him removed and issued with an exclusion order so he could not return to the city for several hours. Now, that's a fairly standard procedure when you're dealing with people who are acting aggressive, and you're in these areas, you can exclude them from coming back in, especially when you have areas where people are drinking, sometimes drinking high volumes of alcohol. It helps if you can just have them removed from the area. You give them warning, don't come back here. If you come back, then you will feel the full extent of the law. So on Tuesday, the court viewed a series of snippets of CCTV and body cam vision that showed Power had not seen the altercation. The incident was alleged to have happened when Whiten was out of his sight for a few seconds, but Tuesday, Whiten's lawyers produced footage of him at the time in question showing there was no incident. Power said, "Sorry, Jack, if that's what happened, I apologize, mate." Mr. Whiten's barrister, Steve Boland, suggested Sergeant Power had lied under oath. Power said, "I believe that's what I saw." Boland's comeback. He suggested to Power that police had kicked the NRL duo out and then dreamed up the fact they saw the fight. Power said, "I did not dream up anything. I believed I saw it." The interesting factors coming up here. Sergeant Power conceded his evidence in his notebook was different to his statement. This is the strange thing about him, about this whole scenario. He keeps saying that he believed that's what he saw. So the lawyers come back and said that you've come in here and given wildly inaccurate evidence, haven't you? Boland asked, and Sergeant Power has said it appears so. But Sergeant Power told the court he did not deliberately lie. He said it was not a stitch-up, but rather his memory had let him down and it was an error. The problem is, go back You get to a job, you pull out your notebook. Once everything, you're either taking notes at the time. If you can't do, you secure the scene, then you take notes. Contemporaneous notes. Documentary evidence of what you did, said, observed, or were told. Up here, it says, Sergeant, it says Powell, but it's a typo, it should be Power. Sergeant Power conceded his evidence in his notebook was different to his statement. And then he's trying to say, no, I didn't lie on purpose. I don't know what police officer, I don't know any. It's not the way you learn. You come back to the station. If you've got charges, you're putting together your brief of evidence. You look at your notebook and you think about what happened. You go through it. If there's any footage, anything that you saw, you make your statement, and you're guided by the notes, by the contemporaneous notes that you took at the time. That's what you do. So if old mate has gone and made up a statement and it doesn't match the contemporaneous notes, it doesn't match the notes he made in his notebooks, one must conclude that he lied. Where our faith in the Australian police to uphold the law and to do the right thing and to act lawfully is fading so fast, because we have evidence like this where a sergeant can't even make the statement correctly. Even though his notes say one thing, he can't even make a statement that lines up with the notes that he's taken. And then he sits there in court and says, well, I didn't do it on purpose. My memory failed you. Well, yeah, your memory fails you. That's why you take notes at the time. So one must conclude that he was just lying on purpose. We need to have, I really don't know what we can do, because it's not just a single state or one or two states. It seems like every police jurisdiction around the nation is failing. Do we lay the blame at human resources and the way that they pick the recruits? Because there's a lot of failures that come through the recruiting. Yeah, stuff I can't even tell you at the moment. Or do you lay it, is it all just the senior members, the leadership teams within the different police jurisdictions? Is it completely them to blame? Australia we don't trust our police anymore, because they can't even follow basic police procedure. Take notes contemporaneously and then write your statement going off the notes that you took. Our police are failing us. They're failing us again and again and again. I really don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I've got to be honest. I sit here and rant and rave about the whole thing. I don't know what the answer is. Do we just start all over again, start from the ground up when it comes to our police? I really don't know. I think a lot of our issues come from the leadership teams in each state. A lot of it is a cultural issue. But how do we start? How do we fix the problem of, is it just inept behavior? I'm not sure how to fix it. Let me know what you think. Just another failing by another police jurisdiction. Anyway, I'm Jay Fallon. Let me know what you think. Thanks for listening to The Slippery Slope.
They just fuel a desire that will take me higher. I'm on fire.